Toyota is revealing a new engine that is destroying the industry. But what makes this engine special? How is it designed and what are its capabilities? Well, let's break it down. This thing is trying to be the new alternative when it comes to green cards, but it's not just about that. This thing is better than EVs in almost everything. Toyota has been trying to achieve something like this for a while now, but now they have the EV killer. Let me explain. Why is it so special? Ever imagine zipping around town in a car that runs on water? Sounds like the plot of a sci-fi movie, right? Well, Toyota is about to make that dream a reality, and trust me, it's a total game changer. See, Toyota's been tinkering with hydrogen fuel cell technology for years, but their latest innovation is a massive leap forward in efficiency and scalability. This time, they're not just developing a new engine, they're making it practical for everyday use. That means we could be looking at a total revolution in energy and transportation as we know it. Toyota's using their rich history in hydrogen technology to create a car that literally uses water to generate power. Think about it, a vehicle that inhales water and exhales water vapor. How cool is that? Electric cars have had their moment in the sun, but those lithium-ion batteries, they've been causing all sorts of headaches. From mining the minerals to recycling them when they're done, the environmental impact is no joke. Even Toyota's CEO, Akio Toyoda, has expressed doubts about whether EVs are the ultimate solution for green transportation. Enter this water engine, which could completely change the narrative. But here's where things get really interesting. This isn't just about making cars greener. Toyota's laying the groundwork for a full-blown hydrogen economy. We're talking hydrogen-powered trucks on the highways, factories running on clean energy. The possibilities are endless. This vision isn't just about making your daily commute a little more eco-friendly. It's about transforming entire industries and creating a sustainable future. Why should you care? In short, this thing could be the go-to option for car manufacturers. And sure, EVs are the darling of clean transportation, but let's be real for a moment. Those batteries, they're causing some serious doubts about their eco-friendliness. From digging up the materials to figuring out what to do with them when they're toast, it's a whole can of worms that's got people scratching their heads. Even Toyota's big boss, Akio Toyoda, is raising an eyebrow at the EV hype train. He's not buying that EVs are the be-all and end-all of green driving. Why? Well, they've got their limitations, and let's be honest, people aren't exactly lining up around the block to snatch them up. But hold on to your seats, folks, because Toyota might just have the alternative we've been dreaming of. Imagine being able to ditch those pricey, resource-hungry lithium-ion batteries. It's like a dream come true, right? If Toyota can pull this off, we're talking about completely flipping the script on the whole EV obsession. We could be looking at a future where our rides are as diverse as our personalities, and we'll have options galore. But this story isn't just about cool cars. Oh no, Toyota's teaming up with the government and other big players to make sure the rules of the game support this crazy innovation. It's like they're building a whole new playground for clean tech. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds too good to be true, right? Well, you're not wrong, to be honest. Everyone who's tried this water engine thing has failed in the past. But hey, if anyone can pull it off, it's Toyota. They're not just dreamers, they're doers, and they're not afraid to think outside the box. So what is the plan here? A factory. That is a solution, according to Toyota, and this bad boy is a one-stop shop for all things hydrogen, and Toyota's got big plans to dominate the clean energy revolution. We're talking about a centralized hub that's not just about manufacturing, but about completely redefining the way we think about powering our lives with eco-friendly alternatives. By packing development, production, and sales all under one roof, Toyota is aiming to spark a whole new era of collaboration and efficiency. Imagine a place where every cog in the machine is working together seamlessly, cutting costs, boosting innovation, and speeding up the creation of cutting-edge hydrogen technology. It's like a clean energy dream come true, am I right? And get this, one of the factory's main goals is to make Toyota lightning fast when it comes to adapting to market shifts and customer needs. By uniting their top brains and resources, they're not just making decisions quicker, but they're setting the stage to roll out new hydrogen products faster than ever. In a world where technology evolves at breakneck speed, staying ahead of the pack is crucial, and this factory is Toyota's ticket to keeping that competitive edge. But that's not all, folks. This new facility is also going to be a hotbed of innovation when it comes to research and development. Toyota's plan is to crank up the volume on making hydrogen production more efficient, slashing costs, and pushing the boundaries of fuel cell performance. This is about creating a whole ecosystem around hydrogen. By centralizing everything from production to sales, Toyota is aiming to streamline the supply chain, cut expenses, and make hydrogen fuel more accessible. But Toyota's shiny new hydrogen factory is just one piece of the puzzle. For this whole hydrogen revolution to really take off, it's going to need a big push from governments, industries, and us, the consumers. And you know Toyota? They're not messing around when it comes to teamwork. They know that's the secret sauce to making dreams come true. That's why they're teaming up with some of the biggest names in the hydrogen world, all with the goal of streamlining their supply chain, sharing risks, and pushing the envelope on fuel cell technology. It's not just about making hydrogen, it's about making it better, faster, and more cost-effective for everyone. But here's the thing. As of right now, the big players in this sector, the ones who can really make a difference, are kind of laser-focused on EVs. So how the heck are they going to make this hydrogen dream a reality? And it is not like this hasn't been tried before. We have a wild history of humanity's obsession with turning water into the ultimate fuel source. This idea has been captivating brilliant minds ever since the dawn of the automobile, and it's easy to see why. Water is everywhere, it's renewable, and it seems like a never-ending resource. So naturally, inventors have been fixated on harnessing this life-giving liquid to power our rides. Now, I know what you're thinking. Water's everywhere, so it must be an endless source of energy, right? Well, that's wrong, my friend. Water is more like a sneaky middleman than an actual energy source. It's not pumping out energy on its own, it's just carrying it around like a molecular backpack. So how does it work? It might seem complicated at first, but it is really simple. Let me break it down for you. One of the most common methods they've tried is electrolysis, a process that splits water into hydrogen and oxygen using electricity. When these gases come together, they produce energy that could theoretically power an engine. That sounds brilliant in theory, right? But there's a catch. The system has to be so darn efficient that it generates more energy than it uses. And that's been the stumbling block all along. So the big challenge for Toyota is making sure their water engine isn't some kind of energy vampire, sucking up more juice than it spits out, or it'll be history. You see, the laws of thermodynamics are crystal clear. Energy can't be created or destroyed, it can only be transformed. Extracting energy from water sounds like a dream come true, but it requires more energy to get the process started than the energy we actually get from it. In other words, it's just not efficient. And that's why all the previous attempts at water-powered engines have not been reliable. And throughout history, this has led to a parade of self-proclaimed geniuses strutting onto the scene, all claiming they've cracked the code on turning water into the ultimate fuel source. But let me tell you, most of these promises have sounded like they were ripped straight out of a sci-fi novel. And the reality has usually been a whole lot less exciting. And that has been fuel for one major thing: hopelessness. There have been so many attempts that now the media is just tired of it all. Take the case of Stanley Meyer, for instance. Back in the 90s, this guy was the talk of the town with his so-called water fuel cell. He promised that his invention could split water into hydrogen and oxygen with minimal energy input. The media ate it up, and investors were practically lining up to throw their money at him. But the scientific community? They were skeptical from the very beginning. And you know what happened? Meyer's device was eventually debunked as a flat-out fraud, and the whole thing got more mysterious when he passed away. But Stanley Meyer wasn't the only one trying to cash in on the water-powered dream. In the early 2000s, we had Genesis World Energy boasting about a device that could extract energy from water. They raked in the investor cash, but guess what? They never actually delivered a working product. The guy running the show, Patrick Kelly, ended up behind bars for fraud in 2006. And that same year, we had this Sri Lankan dude named Tushara Priyal claimed that he could drive a car 190 miles on just 3 liters of water. Even the Prime Minister was backing him, but you know how this story ends. Tushara was arrested for fraud. It turns out his claims were not real. And just last year, an Indonesian inventor named Arianto Mele stepped up with his Nakuba device, claiming it could convert water into hydrogen fuel that could power motorcycles for 500 kilometers on a single liter. He even said big names like Lamborghini and Ferrari were interested. But the scientists in Indonesia debunked his claims, stating he defied the laws of physics. But here's the thing that really gets me. When I hear the word hydrogen, all I think about is the Hindenburg disaster. I mean, talk about a bad reputation. Hydrogen is like the wild child of the elemental world. It's volatile, it's unpredictable, and it's got a tendency to cause a whole lot of danger. This means Toyota needs rigorous testing, fail-safes on top of fail-safes, and probably a team of engineers losing sleep over every possible what-if scenario. But if they can pull it off, we're looking at a transportation revolution that could change the game for good. And according to Toyota, they've already cracked the code. So the big question is, how the heck did they do it? What is the magic behind it? And now, of course, they're keeping lots of details hush-hush, but I'll tell you every piece of information that is available as simply as possible, so watch carefully. At the core of this revolutionary technology is something called electrolysis, a process we've already covered, right? But as you know, there's one huge problem with this method – its efficiency. And that's where Toyota has really stepped up its game. See, these clever engineers at Toyota have made some serious progress in addressing the challenges associated with hydrogen engines. They didn't reveal all their secrets, but they did let slip one particularly nifty trick – the water-cooled hydrogen combustion engine. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Here's how it works. Toyota's engine injects a fine mist of water directly into the combustion chamber. This little hack helps lower the temperature and pressure, leading to a cleaner and more efficient burn of the fuel. And the result? A major boost in the engine power and efficiency. But that's not all. Toyota's also got a secret weapon in the form of a special catalyst that speeds up the reaction, making the whole process even more efficient. This catalyst breaks down the water molecules faster, producing more hydrogen in less time. It's like they've got a turbocharger for their water splitting operation. And that's not all. Toyota's got one more ace up their sleeve. They're powering this whole process with renewable energy sources like solar and wind. By using green energy to produce hydrogen, Toyota's water engine not only slashes emissions, but it also reduces the vehicle's overall carbon footprint. It's a double win for the planet. Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds like some kind of sci-fi fantasy, right? But trust me, Toyota is dead serious about making this a reality. They see hydrogen as the future of clean energy, and they're determined to transform the way we power our lives. So, what now? Right now, these savvy engineers are trying to make hydrogen a household name. They can't just think big, they've got to act local too. And that's exactly what they're doing. It's not going to be easy, but with their innovative thinking and relentless drive, they might just pull it off. Imagine a world where Toyota has specialized research and development labs, as well as state-of-the-art production facilities, tailored to the unique needs and conditions of different regions around the globe. It's like having a global strategy with a local flavor, making sure every market gets exactly what it needs to thrive. But it's not just about efficiency. You see, this localized approach is also helping Toyota build some seriously strong bonds with local governments, research institutions, and industry players. By forging these close collaborations, they're able to tap into all that juicy local expertise and resources, overcoming challenges faster and setting up the hydrogen infrastructure exactly where it's needed most. And you know what the secret sauce is behind all of this? It's cost-cutting. Because let's be real, right now hydrogen technology is a bit like a dream gadget we all want, but we can't quite afford. But Toyota's on a mission to change that, my friends. They've got their sights set on slashing the costs of those all-important fuel cell stacks, the magic components that turn hydrogen into electricity to power your ride, by a jaw-dropping 50%. And I know it sounds almost too good to be true, but Toyota is pulling out all the stops to make it happen. Strategies. First up, they're on the hunt for the more affordable yet high-quality materials to use in these fuel cell stacks. It's like swapping out the premium ingredients for something a little more budget-friendly without compromising on performance. And then they're giving their manufacturing process a serious high-tech makeover with automation and efficiency tweaks that are going to translate into faster, cheaper production. It's the Toyota version of the Tesla factory revolution, and let me tell you, it's going to be epic. But that's not all. There's one more secret ingredient and Toyota's cost-cutting strategy, and it's all based on something they know better than anyone – commercialization. As demand for these fuel cell systems starts ramping up, you better believe Toyota's got their foot on the gas when it comes to production. And let me tell you, the more of these things they crank out, the cheaper each one becomes, kind of like stocking up at the old warehouse store. They've got their sights set on snagging orders for 200,000 mind-blowing fuel cell vehicles by 2030. Now that's not just about hitting some sales target, it's about setting off a hydrogen-powered chain reaction. Toyota's aiming to slash the price of their next-gen fuel cell systems by a whopping 37%. And that's just the beginning, my friends. See, the more orders they get, the more fuel cells they'll be producing, which in turn drives down the costs even further. And you know what that means? hydrogen vehicles are going to start becoming a whole lot more accessible for the everyday driver. But Toyota's not just focusing on the everyday vehicles, they've got their eye on the big guns too. We're talking about those heavyweight commercial rides like trucks and buses that are perfect for hydrogen power. Why? Well, for starters, they need the kind of long-range performance and quick refueling times that hydrogen can deliver. And you know what that means? Less downtime and more productivity on the road. It's a win-win for businesses and the environment. But there's been one big hurdle that's been holding back hydrogen-powered commercial vehicles, and that's the tricky issue of storage. Well, Toyota's come up with a clever solution: multi-hydrogen tank systems. Instead of cramming one massive tank into a vehicle, they're spreading out several smaller ones strategically throughout. Not only does this make better use of the available space, but it also boosts safety. If one tank were to fail, the impact would be minimized, keeping everything running smoothly. And as if that wasn't enough, Toyota's also working to establish universal standards for hydrogen tank sizes and connectors. The goal? To make it easier to integrate these systems into all kinds of vehicles, cut costs, and speed up the rollout of those all-important hydrogen fueling stations. It's like they're building the ultimate support network to ensure hydrogen can really thrive. If you ask me, they're heading in the right direction. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.